Yo, Kip-Based Guy here, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel, and today I want to talk to you about the truth as to why you should not mix and match your speakers in your system. And I mean the absolute truth. We all know kind of the gist why you don't want to, because, you know, tonality, it doesn't sound the same, whatever. But there's a lot more that goes into the reason as to why you don't want to mix and match. So we're going to get started, and we're going to start with the front stage. Now you have a front right, a front left, and a center speaker in your home theater, obviously. And if you're a music lover, or if you're a little bit of a home theater enthusiast, you've heard people say that these speakers need to be the same. They need to be the same make, they need to be the same model, and if you can, they need to be the exact same speaker as well. Most people can't do that, and I'm one of those people. I have a big projector screen here. I don't have very tall ceilings, so my screen sits rather low, so I can't have another floor standing speaker here. I need a dedicated center. And the real audio enthusiasts will tell you to match all three speakers together, but I like it this way. But why do they tell you to do that? Well, there's a lot of different reasons why you should match your speakers. One of them is going to be what we all know, tonality or timbre. For example, let's say I'm your speaker. There's one Kip-Based Guy here, one Kip-Based Guy on the right speaker, one Kip-Based Guy on the left speaker. And if I say, hello, Kip-Based Guy here, in the left, and say hello, Kip-Based Guy here in the right, and then say hello, Kip-Based Guy here in the center, it all sounds the same. You can identify that voice as me. You know that's my voice, you know that's Kip-Based Guy. Now what happens if I have one Kip-Based Guy in a center, but I have a female on the left and I have another different male on the right, and he says, hey, Kip-Based Guy here, and she says, hey, Kip-Based Guy here, and then I say, hey, Kip-Based Guy here. Now you hear a tonal difference between three speakers, and those differences represent mismatched speakers. That's what happens when you mix and match your speakers. You have a different tonality coming to your ear, and it can distract you, especially with music. And so you want to match your front stage. You want everything to be in unison. Unison meaning one, being uniform, being a cohesive unit. You want everything to sound the same when it reaches your ear. So it's super important to match your front speakers, especially because that's where most of the dialogue comes from. That's where a lot of the ambient effects, that's what anything you see on the front of the screen when you're watching a movie, it all comes from the front of the room, your front speakers. So you want those to be the same, or you're going to have timbre issues, tonality issues that can distract you. So we've all heard that before. Timbre, tonality, it's not tonally correct. It doesn't all sound the same. Okay, but there's more to it than just that. When you mix and match your speakers, you run into issues with like sensitivity, the sensitivity rating. What is sensitivity rating? Each speaker has its sensitivity rating, meaning how efficient is that speaker. The more efficient, the better that speaker is at taking power and turning it into music or movies, action, an explosion, a bomb, a voice, whatever. It takes that power and turns it into something usable. The less sensitive that speaker is, the higher the volume you have to turn it up to start getting some juice to it. So it uses more power to do something that something more sensitive can do with less power, if that makes any sense. So if I have a sensitivity rating on my center channel at 95 dB, which is really good, but I have my right speaker, my left speaker at 77 dB sensitivity, which is really bad, you're gonna find that your center channel speaker is a lot louder than everything else in the room. That's because the center channel speaker, being a higher sensitivity, does a lot better with power and feeding it into your ear and giving you what you're looking for without having to crank up the volume. So now you have a sensitivity issue, meaning you have a volume matching issue. It's hard to get the levels right because the speakers aren't the same sensitivity, and so that can cause you a problem. One of the biggest things that people who mix and match their speakers don't think about is the crossover. What crossover are you going to pick if your speakers are all different? So for example, my Canton Ventos here, they play down to about 40, 35 hertz usable output, and then I cross it over to my subwoofer from that point, meaning I take my usable response and I keep it and let it perform through my speakers, but anything that my speakers aren't capable of doing, I send it to a speaker that is capable of doing that, in this case, the subwoofer. And so if you have mismatching speakers, it's gonna be hard to find a good crossover. Most AV receivers and some preprocessors don't let you set crossovers individually to each speaker. So what would you choose if one of your speakers is rated down to 60 hertz and the other one's rated down to 110 hertz? Now you have to choose choose what frequency you're gonna pick. Are you gonna pick 60 hertz and potentially harm the other speaker, or do you wanna choose 110 hertz and cut off some performance from the other speaker? So it's a hard trade-off. It's much easier if you get the same speakers with the same capabilities. You can set one crossover for both of those speakers and know that they're both performing at the same capabilities. So when you mix and match your speakers, you're gonna end up mix and matching your crossover. And with a lot of receivers nowadays, you have to pick one crossover per speaker. So for example, my front left and front right have to be a certain frequency. My rear left and rear right will be one certain frequency. My center channel will be one certain frequency, and my subwoofer will be one certain frequency. You can't necessarily go and individually set your speakers crossover one by one unless you have a really fancy processor like an AVM 70 like me, an Anthem, if you have a Marantz, something like that. But other than that, it may be a little bit tricky. So remember that whenever you're mix and matching your speakers, you're probably going to run into some issues with your crossover that you can avoid if your speakers all match. Now, when you mix and match your speakers, you most likely run into different speakers that have different power ratings. Power ratings means how much power, how many watts can I pump into that speaker safely. And so when you have multiple different types of speakers, you're gonna have different types of power ratings. So let's use my front left and my center channel and my front right as my example. So let's say my front left and my front right speakers are the same, rated at 150 watts each. So great, now I can pump both of those 150 watts. But let's say my center channel is a small little satellite speaker that I had in the garage, rated 80 watts RMS, and so the power rating is completely different. That may be an issue for a lot of people. Power rating doesn't necessarily equal volume, but it does equal efficiency, it does equal clarity, it does equal overall performance, and something small like a satellite speaker paired with two towers, you're gonna have tonal differences. You're gonna have a lot of issues pairing it with a power amplifier. You may need a lot of juice to your front left and front right, so you buy an external amplifier, but it's too powerful for your center channel, and now you're having volume issues. Now your center channel can't handle that extra power. Now it's crackling, it's distorting, it's bottoming out. So many different issues because there's too much power going to it. So long explanation just to say, getting matching speakers means that you can most likely match the power ratings together and make sure that all the speakers are performing optimally and safely. When you have different speakers in the room, you run into different power ratings. My speakers are all Canton Ventos, and they're all powered off of one amplifier, the Monoprice Monolith 7 x 200. And all my speakers can handle that. But if I change my speakers and I buy one from Definitive Technology, and then I buy one from Bowers & Wilkins, and then I buy one from Sony, now we have different power ratings, and now I gotta be careful because one speaker can handle it and one speaker cannot. So you must be careful. So I'm gonna end this last one with just simply aesthetics. When you have a home theater, you want it to look nice. You want it to be inviting, especially if it's in your living room or a space where most people are coming to, coming through, coming in, sitting at, eating at. You want it to look nice and sound nice. And so aesthetically, which matters to a lot of people, mix and matching your speakers doesn't necessarily look good, especially if they are different colors and different sizes. My Canton Ventos are all white speakers. I have some SVS sound elevation speakers above, and I have some white ones now. I used to have black, but white just kind of ties it all together. My Rhythmic subwoofer is made of white piano gloss finish, and it looks just as good as my white Canton speakers. And so the aesthetic in this room is incredible. It looks really nice, it looks really inviting, and it looks well put together. And so when you come in here, you know that you're gonna get a really good experience. Now, you may be able to get a pretty decent experience with mix-match speakers, but it'll never beat a cohesive unit. So aesthetics does matter to a lot of people, and it matters to me as well, and I'm sure it matters to most of you guys watching this video. And so getting the speakers that all look the same and all sound the same just add to the home theater and just make everything look so good. So if you are somebody out there who has mixed matching speakers, I need you to look around and ask yourself, is it time to upgrade? Should I go ahead and get that speaker that's in my cart? I've been putting off getting a new subwoofer. Should I go ahead and do that? I think so. If money permits and you're in a position to do so, go ahead and start piecing together your cohesive home theater or music channel listening center so that you have the overall most optimal performance that you can have. You may tell me in the comment section, KP Sky, my system sounds good. I have a clip center with Definitive Technology as my front, left, and right, and then I have some old Sonys in the back. It sounds great. And I believe you. It really does. And I really believe you that it does. But it'll never sound as good if all those speakers were the same. It's just not possible. So you take what you have and you just level it up, and you get better and better and better. That's what I want to see. I want to see you guys out there getting better, better, and better. So leave me a comment down below. I want to know how many speakers are in your system and what are they? Do they match? Don't lie. Be honest with me. Leave that comment down below. Hit that like button and subscribe if you are not already. We will see you guys in the next video. K-Piss Guy out. Peace.